All right, you guys are almost done. We are getting to the last part here, and then the last few questions are just going to be a quiz. So take a look at this problem here. It looks very similar, but the difference is that instead of giving us a degree measurement, they give us something in radians. Now, instead of using degrees, we use pi. And so for this question, they want you to find the sine and cosine of 5 pi over 7. It's the same thing as looking at degrees. Now, remember that the cosine comes first and our sine comes second, okay? The cosine of 5 pi over 7 is going to be the first coordinate point, which is negative 0.62. So our sine should be 0.78. This is one of the big takeaways, is being able to identify the cosine and sine on a unit circle. All right? Okay, so for this next question here, question 20, give an example of an angle in radians with a negative sine and a positive cosine value. Now, we know that in order, let's break this down, for something to have a positive cosine value, it's got to have a positive x value. And that can only happen in quadrant 1 or quadrant 4. Okay, so here or here. To have a negative sine value, it's got to be in quadrant 3 or quadrant 4 because it's got to have a negative y value. Okay, so to have both a positive x and a negative y, it's got to be in quadrant 4. Instead of using degrees, we're going to use pi to describe this, okay? So if you remember, we talked about this being pi from here to here. This is going to be 2 pi's. This is going to be half of pi, which they write as pi over 2. And this is going to be 1 plus 0.5 pi, which is the same as 1.5 pi. Or you can write that as a fraction. And the way that you'll see it on the unit circle is 3 over 2 pi. And this would be 4 over 2 pi or 2 pi. Now, that might be a little confusing because the fraction would have to change going from here to here, because you can't just add 1 to this, because if you have 4 over 2 pi, that's 2 pi, which would give you something here. So it'd have to be a different fraction over a different denominator, like 6 or 7 or 3. Okay? To make this easier for you, let's just write this as a decimal. So instead of writing a fraction here, find a decimal that's between 1.5 and 2, and I'm going to say 1.75, and that should land us. You could have anything else, you know, like 1.6, 1.9, and that should work for this. It should land in quadrant 4, okay? And to type in that little symbol for pi, just type in pi. It should work. Okay? There's a lot going on here. There. Okay. Let's move on to the next question. Okay, so for this question, they want us to find something that has the same sine value but a different cosine value. So our cosine should be different, but our sine should be the same. And we did this earlier, except this time they give us an angle in radians. So we know that doing this earlier, we had to find something that had the same, like a mirror image. And taking a look at this question, we know that it has the same sine value, so the y is the same. So it should be in this top area here, right? Because this is the only area that has the same positive y value. Our x can be anything else. It's going to be different, and that's our cosine. So we want it to be something like this, okay? And the way that I want you guys to try this problem is to plug in different answers that you think could work, okay? We know that it's going to be a radian measure between pi and pi over 2, okay, because it's in quadrant 2. So let's just plug in different things here, okay? I don't actually know the answer to this one, but let's try 5 over 6 over 4, 5 over 3 pi maybe should work. No, not at all. Okay, so I want you guys to try different values here. If you cannot get this, watch the next video and we will finish this one up, okay?